around. I started to turn my life around in 1997, and I've been writing ever since. I have 4 Facebook pages and over 13,000 followers altogether. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and all of that. And basically, for the rest of my life, my heart will be dedicated to bringing our people out of bondage, because, you know, the African-American community is really doing bad right now. And, you know, and I write daily. And it so all boils down to,
I'm sorry, what's the hip-hop scene like in South Dakota? I mean, when I think of, just like when Blue, I mean, she's coming of us from Massachusetts. When most people think of the East Coast, they don't think of Massachusetts. They think of New York. They might think of D.C. and places like that. When I think of the West Coast, South Dakota ain't the first place that comes to my mind. So what is the hip-hop scene like in South Dakota, and how were you able to break through in South Dakota as a hip-hop artist? Are you doing most of your, like I said, you're getting a lot of hits from around the world, but are you getting most of your hits from California? Are they getting them from all over the place? And how are you developing shows in South Dakota?
Well, basically, my daughter was born here, and my first time coming here was in 2005. I don't consider myself a hip hop artist. I just consider myself a truth teller. I'm gifted. I'm a gifted writer. Like Kendrick Lamar, like, you know what I mean? Like, I only listen to, like, guys like that that's really conscious and living with a purpose and speaking the truth. That's what I'm about.
Yeah. And what are some of those messages that you really want people to understand and get out? I mean, you mentioned some of the things that are going on in our community, but, like, what are some of the things that you're trying to get out there? And I'm going to probably put you in the same position that Ty put Blue in earlier, and that's going to be, if we give you a beat, can you give us a little bit of what you're all about? Because maybe Dean can give you like a little background music, and we can hear a little bit about what your sound is all about. If you want to give it to us a little bit, ad-lib, if you think you can do that.
Well, really, like, you know, that's not really what I call for. I call for to really encourage our people. You know what I mean? Right. Like I say, I'm not a hip hop artist, but I can write anything. I've talked with several different labels, but you know, ignorance rule the world, and I don't want to be a part of that. I'm conscious, and the main thing that I would tell our people is, regardless of what you do, what's in your cup, God loves you, and we can't live without Him. Period. You know what I mean? That's the key to life, man. Our people just putting so much value on money, man. And you know, after you get the money, what you gonna do with it? You know, spend it all on Jordans, Black Friday. You know what I mean? Like, invest in yourself. You know, and we some powerful people, man. And a lot of people don't believe in themselves, and you know, but we some powerful people. And our kids, man, we got a lot of gifted kids, man, especially, man, like New York and Chicago. There's some gifted youth out there, man, that don't have a voice and can't really reach their goals because nobody's listening to them. But man, we got a lot of gifted people in our.
Which actually raises up another issue, and I know that we've had this conversation even on this show before. Do you think that we've gotten to the point where you talked about the game that is existing in the industry, meaning the music industry or any of the entertainment industries? Do you think we've got to the point where, in order for us to really get the word out there, we're going to have to start creating some of our own and stop depend on the big boys to create our sound, but maybe we need to create some of our own sounds and create our own labels?
Absolutely. That's the only way. That's the main way that we'll be able to really get out there and give our younger people a chance to really show the world what they have. That'll be a huge success for our people, man, is to start owning our own companies or whatnot instead of going through, or then you have a lot of people selling their souls for $1. You know what I mean? Like J. Kool, like, you know, he talks a lot about it, how, you know, you got to be a certain way to really be mainstream, and but all the time he a conscious artist. You know what I mean? And a lot of labels don't want to hear that. They want to hear what's gonna make the money. You know what I mean? The ignorance. Yeah.
And where do you think hip hop is going?
I want to thank you for calling in. Briefly, before we continue to move this forward, thank you for calling. Thank you for supporting the Voice of the People. Briefly tell everyone where on Facebook, since you say you have 4 pages, over 13,000 followers, let everyone know where they can find you, if you don't mind us sharing that information with us.
Yes, my name is Prophet Tommy, Tommie, Lee, Lee. Last name is Brown, Jr., and then I have other pages under Tommy Lee Brown. That's where I can be found. Okay. I'm also on Twitter, TV79 The Real on Twitter.
Well, thank you, Tommy Brown, for supporting the Voice of the People. Always tune in Mondays at 7 p.m. You can catch us on iHeartRadio, Blog Talk Radio, as well as follow us. We're on Facebook as the Voice of the People. I want to thank you for calling in. Thank you, all the way from South Dakota.
Hey, we're friends on Facebook.
Hello? That's what I was going to ask you. How did you find out about this particular show?
I think I was just telling her. I think we friends on Facebook because I just seen a post. I just seen a post in green. I think somebody posted. Then we friends on Facebook.
Okay. Well, thank you for being one of my friends on Facebook. Thanks for giving us a shout out. And for just sharing with us your opinions and your views. We highly respect that, and we want to thank you. Share, spread the word, let your friends know where they can reach us, and we thank you for calling in.
God bless. Thank you all.
All right, blessings.
Take care.
Appreciate you.
Peace.
Interesting conversation today, guys.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And we understand it. I was just talking to Solomon. He said he's going to be calling in a few more minutes, too. So hopefully we're going to hear from one more. But person that has just texted me and said that he was going to call as well. But definitely we've got some interesting conversations going on. And folks are definitely seeming like they need to have their own voice heard in addition to, which is what we're providing, a chance for them to give their voice.
It's the voice of the people, man.
Exactly.
So now what?
Yeah.
It's Monday, y'all.
Yeah.
It's Monday.
It's Monday.
17. In Hawaii right now, it's 1:53 in the afternoon. So
rub it in.
Yeah, just rub it in.
Rub it in.
So far, just starting. So, about to be
Hey,
Yep.
Coming back to just world issues while we wait to see if this other hip hopper calls in and everything. But this is something that your husband may be interested in, just in terms of the military and everything. But one of the other articles I saw, but apparently we're not giving enough of our troops care if they're dealing with issues having to do with post-traumatic disorder. Because that was one of the other things that came out in today's paper. The Pentagon healthcare providers failed to perform crucial follow-up for many troops diagnosed with depression and post-traumatic stress syndrome were also at high risk for suicide, according to a study released Monday by the RAND Corporation. It says just 30% of troops with depression and 54% with PTSD have received appropriate care after they were declared at risk for harming themselves. And this was a report commissioned by the Pentagon itself. So this is not something that other people are saying. It's actually the Pentagon itself looking and basically saying that our troops who are gone and served in the country and have come back with various issues are not getting the care that they need to get. So that's something else that was in the news today that probably is something that we definitely need to hear from our military folks. I know even when we do the Apollo Show, which is a fundraiser for a veterans organization, that's one of their concerns is the fact that there is not the care and the fact that these people can also just get firearms and access to firearms, and that's been beaten in the wrist. So they're saying that this is definitely an issue that the military is concerned about. What do you think, Dean?
You know what? The government has to do better, man. Individuals have signed a check, a blank check, payable up to and including their lives if necessary. And then they come back home and they've experienced a whole lot of things that most of us only see in movies, you know, and sometimes they come home minus limbs, and the trauma of war and even being away in an isolated land, not knowing but a few people around you, and different things happen, and then they come home and they're given substandard health care. It's ridiculous. When we can spend a whole bunch of money to find the 86th planet in the galaxy that might or may not exist, but not take care of your own citizens who fought for the freedoms that we enjoy, it is ridiculous. Right. You know, and we send all this money, and no disrespect to any other country, but sometimes you have to take care of home first. And then once you've taken care of home, then you can help someone else. That's just like if I go out here and I help everybody else, but my wife and my granddaughter need something, but I'm out here helping somebody else, then what does that say about me? You know, what does that say about our country to even deny its citizens who fought for her the basic health care? PTSD is real. And it's something that it is a terrible fight for when someone suffers from it, you know, to keep them, to get them back to some type of normal. And basically the government is saying, well, you know, we got the VA, man, you might as well drop them off at the nearest dope spot and hope somebody who used to be a doctor who's a crackhead can help them. It's just sad. It's sad.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of things that happen in the world that are sad, and that's definitely one of them. I mean, the fact that we're not giving the care that we need to those folks that have served the country in the military, and not giving them a lot of the correct medical care and the things that they need in terms of treatment, and then we're also giving them access to the weapons that unfortunately sometimes they use to take themselves out of this world. But like you said, there's just a lot of issues that are going on around in the country, because, I mean, there's also another article that mentioned another issue, which we've talked about on this show before, and it's a major issue, and, you know, I'm in that age range now because I'm 55, but there's, you know, they're talking about the fact that we got all these tech jobs in the world, and guess where most of those jobs are going? The young folks. And if you're over a certain age and you want a job in tech, they're basically saying you might just be out of luck. So, you know, we got all these great developments. There's for years job hunting over age 40 in the youth-obsessed Silicon Valley improve hazardous to your career. And then this guy who was 59 and used to run a $200 million sales division says that he's just frustrated because he looks like he's sending all kinds of resumes, and they're just saying that age is the silent career killer in the tech industry, while companies openly wrestle with the lack of racial and gender diversity. So that's another issue, because they actually just had a report on that too. Regularly releasing workforce demographics, they refuse to disclose the average age of their staffers and offer little in the way of internal support for older workers. So, I mean, some of these folks are the ones that basically created the tech environment, and now they're in their 40s, 50s, and finding themselves being forced out of the jobs that, in a lot of ways, they helped to create.
Man, would that be like age discrimination?
That's what they're saying. They're saying that that's another form of age discrimination. But, I mean, if the companies aren't releasing the information, how can you prove the age discrimination? Because it sounds like a lot of the companies are just not giving out the facts. As a matter of fact, it says, as the population ages, discrimination in hiring and on the job is becoming more pronounced not only in Silicon Valley, but in tech hubs throughout the U.S., where workers relocated from the San Francisco Bay Area to get a fresh start. So I imagine, because we got some tech jobs right here in the Triangle area, so I imagine that this is an issue that's even going on right here in the North Carolina area, because Research Triangle Park has got a lot of tech companies, and I know a lot of times they are geared toward trying to hire folks that are in the younger age range. But at the same time, they're saying that tech will have a projected shortage of 1.8 million workers by 2024. Older, retrained workers, women, and people of color need to be a part of the future of tech. And yet this one woman who's a white woman in her 40s It took her 380 resumes and 60 job interviews